danger. Someone stabbed me in the back. It's gonna be okay.
To really understand where this all started, we have to go back a bit. So this is me. Name's Scarlett.
Got some nice moves.
That's Rog McNaughton, the future love of my life.
Welcome to your new home.
You must be Scarlett.
Scarlett.
Welcome.
Tell me who you really are.
I deal in diamonds. Diamond trade is dirty and corrupt.
That's when I saw the real Rog. The man who killed for me. I'm gonna kill all the men that betray me.
They will eat you alive. It's not enough to be as good as a man. You have to be twice as ruthless.
Run!
Real power can never be given. It has to be taken.
Nicely done, Duchess.
Duchess.
And just a reminder, you have 15 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, David. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. So I have seen the 3 movies that you've done with Neil so far that have been released. I know you guys have another one in post. So I kind of have a good. So is this okay?
Oh, I can hear you now. That's it. Yeah, perfect.
All right, cool. All right. So Duchess is the most how do I put this? I think it gives you it gives audiences a clearer vision of who you, Charlotte Kirk, are, even more than the previous 2, because I feel like your character has a lot more depth and a lot more like in the Lair, you're the female soldier, you're a type.
Yeah.
And Duchess is more of a you have a beginning, a middle, and an end kind of a character, an arc. So why don't you say something about Duchess in relation to what you've done with Neil so far? It's the next evolution of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally agree with what you just said. I think The Reckoning was great, but it was very specific. She and a period piece, England 1665. The Lair, strong British soldier, but Duchess is very different because she's just a regular girl. But her story is so extraordinary, the way it starts to where it finishes. And I think she's got so many layers and depth to her. And what I like about her is, like, she is just a normal girl. And what Neil is great at is writing normal characters in extraordinary situations. And that's exactly what Duchess Scarlett is. She, and I think she's very relatable. She's a normal girl that meets this guy, falls in love, and, without giving away any spoilers, she's got to take over his extraordinary. And who would do that? And I think it's a lot of who she is defined, and through many characters, it's the choices they make, and her choices are very extraordinary. And I think that's what makes her so interesting, that she's a normal girl that's put in these extraordinary circumstances, and she steps up to the mark, and she does things that no one would really think she would do. But again, it comes from, there's so many layers to this movie. It's not just the run-of-your-mill action movie. It's about betrayal, love, power, and that's what makes her interesting as a character. That's what made her so fun to play, and that's what makes this movie interesting. It's not just your run-of-the-mill action gangster movie. She is anti-hero, but I think, and I'm hoping, the audience are really going to be rooting for her.
No, I agree. When you sit down with Neil, I mean, you've had this working relationship for quite a few years now. How do you guys decide what's the next project? I mean, it seems like the sky's the limit. You guys kind of pick a genre. So far, the three that have come out, they're very different from each other. I mean, you could go to Neil could take you to space for the next one, or you could be Lady James Bond for the next one. I mean, it feels like you guys are picking something specific and you're running with that. You guys have a nucleus of an idea, and it's built all around you. Say something about that.
It's interesting. We don't. It's not really about the genre or this is where we've gone and this is where we're going to go. It's very, very different. That with The Reckoning, that just came to us of an idea. Someone approached us about making a film about witches, and then it became a story about a girl that's been falsely accused of being a witch and she wasn't. The Lair, obviously, that was a film actually we was meant to make. It was during COVID. It was meant to be a COVID-friendly house invasion movie, and it became something else. Neil can't write low-budget one-location movies. he thinks very big. And then Duchess was very interesting because we were sitting there one day. We was like, okay, so we did The Lair, we did The Reckoning. What do you want to do next? And then we started talking about the great gangster movies, right? We were like, oh my God, come on, look, the Scarfaces, Goodfellas, The Departed, Layer Cake. I said, wouldn't it be cool if we could make a movie like that? Wouldn't it be better if we could make a movie like that with a woman boss, with a woman Don? Like, I haven't seen that before. This was before, we wrote this in 2018. This was before Queen of the South and, these other shows. And then we shot it in 2022. So it came about, like, we wanted to make a British gangster movie, but with a woman calling the shots. That was really how Duchess came about. We were like, we've done horror, we've done action sci-fi, let's do a gangster movie. And as Neil said, it's one of the scripts he has had most fun writing because the dialogue, the whole thing it's a lot of fun. So that it just came about. It's very organic. And then the project we shot after this was an erotic thriller, and that just came about just in conversation, really. I think if you try and force an idea, it can become, you get a little bit, you have to be inspired by something. And this just came about from, let's make a great gangster movie. And then in that
regard, I kind of feel like Duchess is a prequel to the one where you would end up calling the shots. It's like this is the story before that, what you're describing.
Yes, 100%. It's her rise to power. I mean, I actually wanted to call it Duchess Part 1, and Neil was like, no, don't assume. I was like, yes, but it's like Godfather Part 1. This is absolutely her rise to power, and I definitely see taking her story into other directions. For me, it's just the beginning. Her story is just the beginning.
Yeah, so this one, I kind of feel like, you really run the gamut, your character and you as a performer. I mean, you're doing boxing in a gym. You're putting on gorgeous dresses, and in some instances you don't have anything on at all, which is great. But you're really, like, we're seeing the whole spectrum of Charlotte or Scarlet go through this transformation. You become this Pygmalion. It's My Fair Lady with a gun. Say something about really embodying this character, putting on the dresses, putting on the boxing gloves, doing all this stuff that you're doing.
100% My Fair Lady. I think that's a great example. That's a great comparison because she starts off just being a regular girl who.
Okay, I lost you. Hello? Shoot.
She's frozen for me too, David.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
All right. Yeah, let's start that again.
Sure. Yeah. So it's definitely My Fair Lady. Vibes going on because she just starts out with a small petty thief, and she's got all these incredible abilities, but she doesn't know what to do with them. And then she hasn't done anything or gone anywhere. She's never left the country. She's never been anywhere. She's just stuck in a little goldfish bubble. And then she meets this guy and just opens her eyes and takes her into this another world, for better or worse. what you see and what it makes it so interesting is you see her journey of becoming this small little she's not little, but she's just like a small girl with all these missed opportunities, and then she meets this guy and takes her into this other world. And that's why it was so much fun playing her, because I had to learn to box, and she was like, I had to play this nitty gritty character to putting on these beautiful dresses, diving into this world of meeting all these mob bosses. I think you get a little bit of taste in everything in this movie, because you get at the beginning, you get just the whole down dirty, nitty gritty England, to the beautiful locations, different country, and Neil really wanted to capture that. He said, I want this film to have no green screen. I want to go to these locations. I want the big epic beaches and the big beautiful mansion, and it's really one extreme to the other. And what I like about her is nothing phases her. She's not with this guy. She doesn't even know who he is. She's just falls in love with this guy, and she doesn't know who he is. She doesn't know he's this dangerous mob boss. She's just a regular girl that falls in love with this guy, and she does ends up. It's the ending is bittersweet. Very, very bittersweet, because she has this whole journey, and at the end it just goes to show she does walk away from it. She could have everything, but she doesn't have the love of her life anymore.
Right. Well, one thing I can definitely say whenever I watch a movie with you so far in relation to Neil's work is that you completely and entirely throw yourself into that environment, into that role, body and soul. I mean, The Reckoning was a really tough watch in some aspects with the torture.
Yeah.
And you're with the audience is with you every step of the way. And then The Lair, you're getting, thrown around. It's a grimy action movie, but you're totally in there. And Duchess, I think, even takes it to the next level. It's even more physical. You're getting the snot beat out of you in that movie. But at the other end, you're giving as much as you're getting in that movie. Say something about the physicality and the pure aspect of you plunging completely into these roles.
All three of these roles that all three of these movies that I've worked with Neil have been all very physically challenging. The Reckoning, I had to learn to horse ride, to sword fight, and I thought, oh no, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to jump on a horse. And but anyway, I ended up doing it and absolutely loved it. The Lair, I'd never fired a gun before, and they were like, yeah, your character's going to fire AK-47s and this and that. So I had to learn to, fire guns, which was great. And then the Duchess was difficult because I'd never boxed before. And yes, she didn't have to be, a professional boxer, but she'd been doing it for many years, and that was her thing. And of course, it comes into play later on. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I came across like I knew what I was doing. And I think one of the toughest days actually on set was me in the boxing ring. It was kind of like, when you're trying to pat your head and rub your belly at the same time. I had to learn to remember how to, right hook, left hook, and saying all these lines off, to my character, to the Rob McNaughton's character off screen. So I was like, learn to this, that, right hook, left hook, and then saying all these dialogue. I'd never done that before, and that was very, very difficult for me. But again, I wanted to play it as, I wanted to make sure, again, she's not a superhero, she's not a spy, she doesn't have to be perfect at martial arts or anything like that. But I knew Duchess had to be a good, at least not professional, but good, know what she's doing when it comes to boxing. So, and that was one of the challenging aspects of this film, is learning how to box and making it look believable. And again, it really it goes into later on, plays in later on. So
Great.
That was very.
Well, this will be our last question, I think. So I know you have another one coming out. You can say something about that, but going forward into the future, especially with Neil, you can talk about the other movie that you have with like Dolph Lundgren coming out also, but what is it that you'd like to see yourself doing, whether it's with Neil or not, going forward? What are some like dream parts that haven't even been created yet for you? What are some things that you'd like to see yourself doing?
I want to do more character pieces. I don't want to stereotype with genres, but I think previously with horror in particular and action, I absolutely love doing action, but I would like to do more character pieces, more obscure, Ty West, working with someone like Ty West, you know, that kind of film. Pearl, brilliant. It's a horror, but it's just incredible. More dramas. I haven't really done a drama before, so I'd like to do more like that if I could choose. But then I absolutely love action, and I think that's kind of my, I won't say specialty, because I'm not a professional martial artist or anything like that, but I try and do as many stunts as possible. But I do love action. I think it's a hell of a lot, but it's so much fun to shoot. And it's, you know, when shooting it, and then it's the beauty of smoke and mirrors in movie making, right? It's like, wow, okay, did that work for camera? And then you see it and it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. So overall, I want to be doing more character pieces, whatever that may be. Again, the genre doesn't matter to me as long as the script and the characters are great. But I think overall, if it is a drama or whatever kind of, you just ultimately get more character driven pieces when it comes to that. But that's, again, sorry, what I love about Duchess is because yes, it is an action gangster movie, but it's a real character led piece as well. And then yes, with the Fight or Flight movie coming out with Dolph Lundgren, that was like a full on, I mean, going from Duchess to
Charlotte, you're frozen again. Can you just repeat that for David?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You were saying about the Dolph Lundgren movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was ultimately, you know, jumping into an action piece like that with Dolph and Michael J. White, who are, you know, two epic action legends, was very, very cool. And I think Duchess was a good previous film to help me get into that and make me feel comfortable. And that was a full on action film from start to finish. But hell,
Charlotte, can you hear me?
yeah,
It's okay. It's okay. Are you there?
yes.
All right. You can wrap it up now. I think we're about done. Maybe just say one last thing about the next movie you have with Neil that's in post.
Yes. So I've just come off Wi-Fi, and that should be better. So the film that I have coming out with Neil, it's in post, is Compulsion. Again, it came very, very naturally. We were watching some films and we saw this film on Netflix called 365 Days, which is an erotic thriller. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do like an erotic thriller? I haven't, you know, all the good Fatal Attractions, Basic Instincts, like I haven't seen, when's the last really good erotic thriller that we've seen? So Neil put his stamp on it, obviously. So there's quite a lot of blood and murder and killings and all that fun stuff. It's very inspired by the Italian giallo movies. So it's definitely got that kind of vibe. It's a serial killer on an island. That's kind of the backdrop of it. So very, very different. And again, I'm playing the antagonist, so that is a lot of fun. Very, very different to Duchess. But to be honest with you, like someone said to me the other day, like, what's your dream role? And I said, the answer really, like, I just played it with Duchess. I've got many other roles that I'd love to play, but like Duchess was my dream role for a long time, and I think you can tell why. It was just so much fun filming it, and it's got so many layers and nuances, and it was just a fun role. It was a real character-driven piece.
All right. Hey, Charlotte, thank you so much. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you, David. Bye-bye.